What's good? What's good? What's good?
What's good,
Back with
chat?
another episode of Over the Counter Podcast, man. Bro, it's getting spicy outside. It's getting spicy outside. We definitely gonna have to get into it. We got peace talks. We got tariffs. We got a big dollar TSM investment. We got some Intel and Broadcom news.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we got tariffs. We got some other news related to crypto, a whole lot of stuff, man. Market sentiment. We're gonna get all into it today. Because like I said, man, it's a lot to get into. It's getting spicy out there, but you know what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
What's up?
Hey, y'all need to follow us on X. The handle is right there because we live pod right now, and I'm over here telling them on X in real time how Trump will not be good for the economy in the short term. You know,
Bro.
and I'm letting them know that just let AMD and Nvidia. I'm still buying. If everybody's just asking, texting my phone, stop asking. I'm still buying. Still buying, man. Still buying.
It's a lot to be buying, bro. Like that'd be the thing. That'd be a thing. We definitely gonna get into it. But when prices be high, people like, man, is now a good time for me to be buying? Like, what should I be doing? Da, 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 da. Like, man, just calm down, calm down, calm down. Wait your turn, wait your turn. And
Because
then when prices get low like this, it's like, bro, everybody getting out, bro. I'm selling, bro. Da, da, da. I'm like, now wait a minute. You was just praying for better price points to get in. Now that you have them, why do you want to say? I don't get it, bro. I don't
last time I
understand.
checked, we explained the fear and greed index, did we not? We explained.
Pretty well.
We explained VIX. These are things that we've talked about. We told you, when market sentiment is shaky, when there's fear in the market, normally when people are selling in mass, that's when you should be buying. We've told you to do your research. We've told you to follow the fundamentals. We've told you these things. We've told you these
Right.
things. So for people to be, especially people that know us personally or people that follow, our platforms to still be asking these type of questions in these type of markets is really insane. Yeah.
Don't get shaken. Don't get shaken out of your position, man. Like follow if nothing fundamentally has changed with your investment, you should be okay. You should be okay. You're gonna go through some ups and downs. Crypto, man, we getting hit upside the head right now. But it's
Which is pretty
okay.
crazy because y'all got amazing news this week. Amazing news.
Pretty good, pretty solid news. But bro, I don't know. For some reason, it's always been opposite. You get good news, the market goes down. You get bad news, the market takes off for whatever reason. I don't know. But it's you got to master your emotions with any market, honestly, whether it's crypto or stocks. So for me, not I'm buying certain assets. I'm buying certain assets that have definitely taken a hit, that are definitely part of my long term strategy. And I'm good, man. I'm good. And on top of all that, we told people before 2024 was over
Mm-hmm.
that expect bloody, turbulent times, at least for the first quarter of 2025. Y'all can go back and watch the previous episodes because we
Proceed
definitely got that on video.
on this channel, on the personal channels. We said
Right.
it.
Definitely said it. Definitely said it. So for us to be here, I'm not shocked nor surprised. I'm happy. Mainly because, like I said, really good buying opportunities out there if you know what you're looking for. Definitely in the midst of getting ready to pivot my invest and focus in some other places. So that's always exciting. And like I said, man, if you invest for the long term, none of these turbulent times really bother you. You should be happy, but you know, we see others that are not. But before we get into the market sentiment, because we know a lot's going on over that, man, we definitely got to get into Trump and Zelensky with these peace negotiations, man. I don't know what to make of it because personally, I've never seen nothing like that before.
Uh, we talked about this the other day.
Yeah,
There is a lot of political theater going on. There is a lot of antics going on in regards to this Ukraine and Russia situation. And for one, I'll say this, to sign, some good light on it if there is any. We asked for transparency and we getting it. I have
Wait,
never seen more transparency than that. You're talking about geopolitical peace talks live for the world to see. I don't think
hmm
that's ever happened in American history.
I've never seen anything like this. I don't recall anything ever like this happening.
And
And
I
I was
believe
pretty
Trump,
shocked.
he pulled aid. He pulled aid as of now, currently from Ukraine, I believe.
Hey, I'm
Until
with that.
he pulled it, I guess he said until Zelensky is more willing, to come to negotiations as far as peace is involved.
Yeah,
I believe I
bro.
read that story before we got on.
Because this is my thing. You're not in position to win the war.
Mm.
You only barely hanging on because we providing supplies and aid. If we pull that,
Devil's
it ain't
advocate.
looking too good.
Devil's advocate. We pull aid, Russia, gains traction, and they, dismantle Ukraine and take over and have their way. What does that mean for America when it comes to us on the world stage and how our allies, other countries and world leaders that may be, in a similar position as far as strength on the world stage, like in Ukraine, how do they start to look at us if we throw our hands up and essentially give Ukraine up on a platter to Russia, because they didn't want to play ball?
I mean, it wasn't our problem to begin with.
Yeah,
It
but
would we. I mean,
but
we shouldn't
Biden
have been
made it our
over there to
problem, so
begin with.
it's ours now. We in there. It's a lot
Hey,
of money
hey,
invested.
hey, separate. We in a totally different admin.
Yeah,
Hey, this might have been cool under Biden, but Trump. I'm not with it. So I'm not with giving you all this money. We trying to get home, our house in order. We can't be getting our house in order and we giving other people aid for wars that we really shouldn't be in. Because at the end of the day, Russia don't really want to go and have a full scale all out war with America, just like China don't. You know what I'm saying? Like they really don't want that. So I think Russia is on board with any favorable deal. You know what I'm saying? They obviously don't want the Ukraine to join NATO. I totally understand why they don't want, they as in Russia don't want Ukraine to be with NATO because Russia's not part of NATO. Russia is totally against NATO. So why would I want my op in my backyard? Quite literally. I'm cool on that. So I totally understand that. Um as in terms of America getting minerals, I mean, we got to get something out of the deal. We didn't gave you all this bread. It's the part of it you may or may not ever pay back. The other part, you know what I'm saying, we may have to get back via a mineral deal or something like that, some type of deal that provides us with monetary resources. So I get why Trump is like, hey, look, man, you really not in position. You really not in position to play these types of games with me. You have no leverage. And until then, I'm pulling A. I'm with. I understand, bro. That's business. That's cutthroat business. I'm with it, man. I'm with it. I'm with it. Because if we wouldn't have gave you all that bread, I'm not saying that most of America's problems would be solved, but I mean, hey, inflation still is high as hell over here.
and rising. I mean, with the whole Ukraine and Russia situation, we just have to see, how it goes. People need to realize this is not something that has just began. Ukraine and Russia were, at odds during Trump's first presidency. And
Hmm
it wasn't as big of a deal as it was now, but he didn't act on it then. And then, things accelerated under Biden, and now he's trying to bring peace to the situation. I believe, with this much pressure being applied to Ukraine, there will eventually be some type of deal struck. But what I would like to see is some of this pressure being applied to Russia. Because as of now, I haven't seen Trump openly speak out and say, Russia, I need you to do this, this, this is this, and this. You know, in regards, because in order to have peace, that's going to take two sides. We're seeing what you're asking of Ukraine. We're seeing the pressure you're applying to them. I just want to see the same thing on both sides. Just so we know we're not, just so it doesn't come across as we're siding with Russia, or we're colluding with Russia, or doing things in favor of Putin, because there are a lot of, rumors circulating that Trump is, he has ties to Russia or all this type of stuff. So, I just want to see, that pressure being applied to both sides, if that is the route they're going to take. But, we'll see. Maybe he's talked to Putin, and Putin is willing to play ball in Ukraine, and Zelensky, he's just putting up a lot of resistance, which is why, we kind of see some of the public shaming that we're seeing. That boy definitely got set up. I ain't gonna lie.
They verbally slapped that man around. Like honestly, I will say this: JD Vance kind of surprised me. He kind of with it. He kind of with it. I mean, and this is my thing. People are saying, well, who's the president? Elon or whoever. Look, man, every king needs a left and a right hand. Me, the king, I can't be seen crashing out and handling business and being the enforcer, because then people fall out of favor with me on the most part. I gotta have an Elon that's gonna do my dirty work.
Did you see this kind of? Did you see the Elon interview with Joe Rogan?
A new one?
You need to watch that.
No, I haven't seen that.
Joe Rogan started asking him questions about some of the corruption and things that he's finding in regards to Doge. And he was basically beating around the bush, saying that certain stuff I can't talk about, or he straight up said, he said they will kill me. He said he said the things that I'm trying to reveal. He said that it's definitely not lengthening my lifespan. He straight up said they will kill you. You need to go watch that, bro. I was like, yo,
hey, that's serious. But then see, this really swerving off topic, but when I really started doing my research on the income tax and the tax code, and finding out that there's no actual law, do not follow any of this as advice, what I'm about to say. Do not follow any of this as advice. I'm just saying, there's no actual law that says we have to pay taxes.
Yeah, he gonna get y'all caught up on some taxes.
Yeah, do not follow any of that as advice. I've said it multiple times. Don't follow any of that as advice. I'm just simply saying, like, when I really started looking into it, and you really, bro, and there's like ex or former IRS agents that have said this. They got up on the stand. There's like whole courtroom accounts of these IRS agents talking about this type of stuff. So I don't know. My thing is this. Obviously, I'm not advocating for anybody to not pay their taxes. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm simply saying is, the tax code is super confusing, and it seems like it's been done on purpose. And then when you go into how high taxes are, especially for us in today's times, and finding out, especially through Doge, that we've been spending taxpayer dollars on the absolute stupidest things, and like people to have luxury lifestyles.
Yeah.
I'm all for it, bro. I wouldn't be upset if people stopped, if they started being rebellious. I'll say that. If more and more people started being rebellious in that way, because there definitely needs to be some type of tax code reform. Our dollars shouldn't be going to fund people's lifestyle, because it makes all the sense in the world why you have lifetime politicians. Why would you leave? You got somebody paying, like literally paying for you to not do anything, no type of work. You're not working for nothing. So yeah, that's why you got career politicians. So I'm all for Doge and Elon, what they doing. Sorry to that man if his lifespan get cut short, but I'm all about transparency,
For the
dog. Like,
greater good, huh?
it's so important. Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know, bro. All I'm saying is if it's that bad,
If
then
you're gonna
tell you a lot.
yeah, I don't know if I want to be a martyr for that because once you're gone, it's over wraps. But we'll just have to see, man. We'll just have to see, man. Well, what else we got on our itinerary, man?
Bro, these tariffs, man. Trump on one, bro. It's back to back to back. Bro, these tariffs, man. We got Canada and Mexico. Their
Mm,
tariffs go
midnight.
into effect at midnight.
I'll say
They had what, 30 days, 90 days? How many days did they have?
they were supposed to have. I can't remember if it was 60 or 90. It was one of those. It was one of
Right.
those. But
So they had 90 days and y'all didn't come up with no solution.
this is the thing. I think I said this before that I don't think Trump was ever looking for a solution. I think these tariffs were coming regardless, one way or another, because yeah, they had to pause, but nothing had changed during that time period. Nothing, his stance on tariffs didn't change. How he feels about, you know, fentanyl and them treating America fairly, and the stuff that's been going on with those countries. Nothing changed in regards to that. So you could only assume that these were coming. And when people think about tariffs, because I've seen a lot of people with the sentiment, oh yeah, let's do it. We want to see a president showing strength, and we want to see this and that. I mean, yeah, that's all good, but like you have to find the fine line between, balancing the strength of the economy and the well-being of the American consumer with, your political games. Because whether people want to admit it or not, we are extremely intertwined with Canada, Mexico, China indirectly because they funnel things through Mexico. We rely on them. Trump can sit in his office and say, "Oh, we don't need this and we don't need that and we don't need Canada." That's not the case. We get a lot of things from them, and for those of you that don't know, I'll just name a few of those things because whether it's you, me, it doesn't matter. We're all going to be affected, via the price of goods, services, things that we use on a daily basis. These aren't just niche things. From Canada, we're talking about wood, charcoal, aluminum, iron and steel appliances, cereal, flour, starch and milk products, rubbers, alcoholic beverages, carpets, wool, umbrellas, cotton, cork products, printed books. When we're talking about Mexico, and these are just a few. I ain't even naming all of them. We're talking about Mexico, cereals, pepper products, processed fruits and nuts, tropical fruits, tomatoes, onions, lettuce and cabbage, pickle foods, fruit juice, fertilizers, dairy products, baked goods, avocados, raw sugars. Speaking about avocados, Chipotle, just announced a
Mm-hmm.
and they get a lot of avocados from Mexico. And they've already said as a result of these tariffs, that's going to, disrupt the supply chain, but they are willing to, take on that additional cost instead of passing it on to their consumers. That's just
Right.
one. Don't expect that from everybody. He even said that's not something that, that he can, say that will be the case in the long term. But as of now, they're willing to absorb those costs. But that just lets you know the things I named off, those are things we use, eat, use on a daily basis. Is it not?
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
nobody's
I
going to
mean,
be.
and then it don't help that we got this bird flu going on, so the price of eggs is going crazy. You know what I'm saying? They places having upcharges on eggs and stuff like that. So I mean, but you take that side of the argument, but I take the other side of the argument on, okay, so you're talking about balancing the political games
Mhm,
with the impact to the consumer,
mhm.
with price of goods and all that stuff, right? How do you think these multi-billion dollar investments will help offset some of the potential cost increases that will come with these tariffs? Because you got TSM investment, you got Apple talking about they invest in billions of dollars. That
700.
TSM one is actually kind of huge because you're talking five factors.
Yeah. I'll say this, because of course the ones you mentioned, then we haven't even heard anything else about the Saudi investment. Um,
Right.
But
That one too. I almost forgot about that one.
when we're talking about these investments, that yes, when we're talking about technology, infrastructure, data centers, AI, all of that kind of stuff, that will come into play. But when we're talking about the type of goods and products and services that I just talked about, when we're talking about that bill at the grocery store, when we're talking about the cost going up of clothing and vehicles and food and car insurance and all of the things that inflation is really hitting, those investments aren't going to do anything for that. And that's what
Maybe
he has to remember that. Yes, people want. Let's just be honest. Nobody voted Trump into office because they wanted to see heavy investment into tech. People voted Trump in office because they wanted border protection. They wanted inflation to be fixed, amongst a few other things. You're talking about, amongst a few other things, but those were the two biggest things. And maybe some of the crypto guys he invested in as a result of things like the strategic Bitcoin reserve and crypto adoption and regulatory clarity. For the main part, most Americans, they wanted border security and they wanted to get a handle on inflation.
Mm-hmm.
Handling the border, inflation, you haven't done anything. If anything, if we're just being 100% unbiased, if anything, we can say that, as a result of your actions, regardless of how you feel about it or not, you are accelerating inflation. You're not bringing prices down. These tariffs were only raised them, and that's been historically proven. It's not an opinion; it's a fact. Tariffs raise the price of goods and services for Americans, and will raise the price of goods and services for Canadians and Mexicans and all of those things. It's not a win-win. When you're a consumer, we're gonna feel it.
Right. I guess my standpoint is the indirect impact. So if I'm creating jobs at a rate in which allows me to essentially speed up or increase my money supply, the amount of money that's flowing in the economy, I kind of offset. At least it has to at least be at a rate in which it would offset the rise in the price of those goods. Because if everybody's getting paid more to where they're not feeling the tariffs, you're not tripping about the tariffs, at least as an American consumer.
When we're talking about a lot of the investment that's being made, wouldn't you agree that those will not be just your average American jobs? Those will be highly skilled jobs, engineers.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. But there's so many levels that would have to be filled, especially when you're talking about these factories. Not all of those factory jobs are high skilled, highly sought after jobs. But we're talking about 5 new chip manufacturing factories.
so
That's every level.
okay, but is that
And that's just one investment. That's just
we'll
one
see
investment.
we'll see jobs. Of course, the factory's been built. You'll see a lot of contractors, yada yada yada, all that. But once that infrastructure is built, will we see that same influx in jobs? Those same numbers hold true once the infrastructure is set, because then after that, you're going to need a lot of highly skilled workers. And if we're being honest, a lot of the technology and investment that's being put forth by these companies is to make their companies more efficient and trim and cut off some of the workforce.
Some of the workforce that you're depending on overseas, because TSM still has a factory overseas in Taiwan.
Yeah, but we ain't cutting that off. That even the stuff they still have
Right.
over
I'm
here.
not. No,
Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just simply saying, like, yeah, you may lean out operations. You may only have essential operations, but that's still potentially thousands of new jobs, all because those are factories that we did not have before that investment to produce those chips. So, and then you also have to factor in this is over a course of 4 years. So, I mean, yeah, I'll say for 4 years we may see a dent, but after that, I don't know.
Well, I ask you this: how many people do you know work at these type of facilities and these type of factories? And not only that, there will only be a few, as of right now, there are only a few states, where this infrastructure is being set. Arizona, Texas, these are not, every state won't even be able to, won't even get the opportunity at these jobs. It'll be a very select few.
Right, and I don't think every state would need. I don't think every state would even need this. I mean, I think Arizona and Texas make a lot of sense for locations of these factories. It's highly dense populations. I mean, you ain't hearing Tesla having issues hiring people and for their Texas plant. So I highly doubt you're gonna have TSM gonna have issues in Arizona or Texas.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to see. We just have to see how the jobs play out, man.
Right,
I think it's gonna be a sticky situation. And not only that, we haven't really seen any timeline for a lot of this investment. We haven't really seen
right.
a timeline.
Yeah, I'm definitely assuming it would be within a 4 year window because Trump in office. But after that, I really don't know. I really
Let's
don't
just
know. I
in
mean, then
the meantime, what does it mean for consumers? Like the next 6 months, what does it mean for consumers? Because these tariffs are going
right,
to some of these tariffs are going into effect as soon as a few hours. So what do Americans do in the meantime? What do the markets do in the meantime? That's, I think that's going to be the big focus, because people don't want to hear about, oh, there'll be jobs, there'll be some, some easing of your pain a year from now, 2 year. No, people
right.
care about what's going on right now. And I think that's what's going to affect stock market.
It's definitely going to be some short term pain. And but that all correlates. We've already spoken about this. It's already the markets are already correlating with that short term, that first quarter pain. Now, I mean, I don't know what that means for second quarter. My prediction was that second quarter and beyond we would start looking a little better. But we gonna see, because that's not too far off.
I don't
That's
think I,
not
I
too
think
far off. I don't know.
I don't know, man. At this rate, we may be in for a bad first. We may be in for, I won't say a bad, but we may be in for a very turbulent first year of Trump's term.
I think I'm leaning more towards that now that things are starting to settle in. I think 2020, and I think that kind of matches though, because I did definitely say I don't expect to see a Bitcoin Reserve Act
And it
passed
did. It
in
did.
2025. I do not see that
Even
happening.
with the news we just got.
Yes, even with that news, even with that news. But before we get into that, let's talk about this Intel and Broadcom situation. Um, because it's definitely a lot to get into when it comes to the markets. But this Intel and Broadcom situation, I don't really know nothing about this. So put us on game.
Okay, so if you guys have been following, Broadcom, for those of you that don't know about Broadcom used to be, I believe, the world's leading manufacturer of chips at one point. An American company. They have been around for a long time. And as of late, Broadcom is one of those companies, that has been really last place when it comes to innovation, when it comes to the semiconductors, when it comes to any of that. And we've seen Biden. He put forth, the Chips Act, and Intel got a lot of that money. They seen a lot of residual from that. They recently, had their CEO, step down, and Intel's been one of those companies, that, they pretty much lost their position to AMD.
Hmm.
And now we got news that Nvidia and Broadcom, which, if you don't know, of course everybody should know Nvidia at this point. They make the world's most advanced GPUs. And Broadcom, they make ASICs, which is application specific chips. So they make chips that are, kind of more tailored to a business's specific needs, where Nvidia's chips are more, generic, just high power GPUs. But
Hmm.
and Broadcom are partnering with Intel, and they are running, tests in regards to chip making. So it's a manufacturing deal that they're working out. So, we'll see how that goes. It's fairly new. We don't know a lot of details. We'll be following it. But, the stock seen a big jump, as a result of that news, which is one of the biggest jumps we've seen in Intel for a while, and one of the biggest catalysts we've seen for the stock jumping. So that's definitely something to watch. And Intel is one of those companies that's been around for a long time. And I don't know, man. Like we were just talking offline, somebody want Intel to succeed. Somebody wants Intel to succeed, for NVIDIA and Broadcom to be working on a manufacturing deal with them, for them to be one of the biggest recipient of government funds. When we talked about the CHIPS Act, somebody, they got some pull up there, out there in DC, man. They're getting money. They're getting, cooperation from some of our biggest players in the space. And we'll see how it goes. If Intel this may be a catalyst for them to be able to turn things around. I'll definitely be watching the stock because that is extremely interesting. If they can come to some type of deal, some type of long-term deal and run some manufacturing through them, get more investment into the company, get some juice running into Intel, maybe a good play, but we'll be watching it. As of right now, it's also on my watch list. I have not, opened a position on Intel. I'll be watching it.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of good information because Intel was it looked like it was on life support for a minute. And back in the day, it having an Intel chip in your computers, that was a like almost like a status symbol. But now it's been NVIDIA AMD chips.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that I've been buying is AMD chips for my personal PC builds and stuff like that. So we definitely gonna have to keep an eye on Intel and see how it rebounds from here. But circling into some more Trump news, Trump, he tweeted out or posted on Truth Social about what he would see include in a reserve, a crypto reserve for the United States. And he stated it wouldn't just be Bitcoin, which I agree with. He said Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, ADA, Sol potentially could be involved in that. And to a degree, I definitely like some of those picks. Some of them I could do without, probably swap one for another, that type of thing. But ultimately, I definitely agree with the sentiment of not having a Bitcoin only reserve. To me, that makes no sense. Bitcoin is not the only cryptocurrency out there. And I feel like a lot of people, bro, they're just gonna have to start realizing that, when it comes to the crypto market, it has broadened so much. And there are some other assets outside of Bitcoin that have a true use case, a true purpose, have captured large amounts of market cap. Um, and really, some of them are mainstream and some of them are starting to become more mainstream. But regardless, Bitcoin it doesn't serve every purpose. So why would you limit yourself to Bitcoin and Bitcoin only? That just simply doesn't make sense to me. But that's just my 2 cents.
So, how do you feel about the argument that, if the government acquires so much of these assets, and they become, one of the biggest holders in some of these assets, if it gets to a point to where, they trade out of their positions or they, buy up a bunch, run a price up, and then, they sell some of the assets, do you think that would put some of those assets, at a deficit or in a bad spot, with the government pretty much being the biggest world and kind of controlling where that price lies in regards to that asset?
I think you could say that about any asset, including Bitcoin. Um,
Would the US have the biggest position in Bitcoin though?
I mean, U.S. does have a pretty large position in Bitcoin. So,
In micro strategy?
I don't think it's that big. I don't think it's that big. But that's why I say you would have to say that about any asset. Because if MicroStrategy, for instance, if they trigger a liquidation event, you really think the broader Bitcoin market and crypto market as in general ain't gonna feel that?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. So, any major sale, especially when you talk about in the billions of dollars or millions of dollars, depending on the asset, the market cap, total volume throughout the for 24 hours, stuff like that. Um, any major sale that will impact its volume uh, could impact an asset's price. But I don't think these entities that would be in direct control of their assets would do so. I think right now you only mainly see like retail selling. So like for instance, or I guess it's not retail, but BlackRock, for instance, or Fidelity, they were selling millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin over these last couple of days, and you saw that with how the market dipped. But those were their clients wanting to sell their Bitcoin positions, their Bitcoin ETF positions, right? So obviously the price of Bitcoin is going to feel that. So I don't see why they're not scared of any asset being hit by something like that, because that would bode to be true for any asset. So what does it matter if it's the U.S. government or anybody else? But what I think we should pay more attention to is the policies that they create around creating these reserves, because one of the proposed things was the United States wouldn't be able to sell for, or they'd have to hold for 20 years, and the only time that they could sell, or whatever the case may be, would be to pay down the debt,
Yeah.
the deficit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how is that bad?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, because most people are invested in Bitcoin. A lot of people are not invested in some of these altcoins. And not only that, a lot of people have somewhat of an emotional tie, to some certain investments and think that there can only be one winner, and not realizing that different assets, you know, do different things, and two things can be true at once.
Right,
XRP can be successful while Bitcoin is successful. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
right,
I think the same thing happens with stocks. You talk about, a lot of people were, Team Nvidia, not investing in AMD, or I'm an AMD and not Nvidia. Two things can be successful at once. Everybody's not going to need one or the other. Some things may work for this, some things may work for that. But
right.
I think it's more so a lot of that going on, because I don't
I
see why
agree with
you would
that.
be against. I don't see why you would be against. Adoption is adoption,
Mhm.
and if you're talking about the adoption of your U.S. assets, and pushing those forward, I think that's only good for the space as a whole, regardless of if your position is primarily Bitcoin, if your position is primarily Solana, primarily Cardano, primarily XRP. You should want to see everybody win, because when crypto wins, especially US crypto, it's good for the whole space. So everybody,
Right,
it's enough money out here for everybody to eat. It's enough money out for
right,
everybody to eat.
right. And I mean, and some technologies within, especially in the crypto space, are good for some things and they're not good for other things. That's why you have multiple of these assets. Now, it's a lot of trash out there in the crypto space. I'm not gonna cap. It's a lot of trash out there, but it's hella gems out there too. Gems that are actually really, really useful, actually serve a purpose. So I just can't get with the maximalism. These Bitcoin maxis, even XRP maxis, man, y'all need to chill. Y'all need to chill, man. Solana maxis. That just if you have that maximalist mentality, it's just not healthy, no matter what the asset is. Um, because you should definitely want to see multiple high quality blue chip assets be included. You should want to see multiple high quality blue chip assets be talked about and discussed, because like you said, it brings spotlight to the space in general. I think Bitcoin is a good asset to include in that reserve. Obviously, it's the OG, one of the first. I think Ethereum would be great, even though I have certain displeasures towards Ethereum. There's a lot of DeFi activity on Ethereum. There's a lot of bread circulating on Ethereum. Same with Solana, and same with XRP. XRP is really good at cross-border payments, that quick finality. You got a lot of institutional DeFi going on with that, tokenization, all types of stuff. Um, and then everything that's tied to Ripple and XRP. You got the flares, you got several other stuff that's tied to Ripple and XRP. So, I mean, all boats rise with the tide. You feel me? And that's how we should look at it.
I mean, everybody's played. I always correlate the two because I think there's a correlation between the two. But whether you're talking about semiconductors or you're talking about crypto, whether it's XRP, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Solana, whether it's Ethereum, everybody, all of those individual assets have played a role in bringing the space to where it is now. All of those
Absolutely.
assets have played a role in adoption and bringing in money and generating capital and market cap, and have played their own individual roles in why crypto is such a big topic right now. So we're not just going to act like Bitcoin is the only asset that's played a role in garnering all of the attention and generating all of the attention, because there's a lot of people who came into this space and Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana was not their first asset.
Right.
XRP was my first asset in the space.
Same.
And there's a lot of people like that. So you can't just give all the credit to one. A lot of people, a lot of different assets have played different roles. Even some of the meme coins, even Dogecoin. A lot of people, that was their introduction to crypto. So you have to be, like you said, the maximalism got to stop. It's not just one player in this space.
Yeah, I mean, and if we gonna mature and improve, man, we got to get out of that mindset. But unfortunately, especially as this reserve gets talked about more and more, unless unless we somehow figure out a way to come together, I definitely see a lot of infighting. So hopefully we can figure that out. But moving on from that reserve, man, definitely gonna have to keep an eye on that. But gotta dead that maximalism situation, because it's a lot of stuff going on in the crypto space that's good, bro. Like Ripple announced that they have $210 billion circulating in their stablecoin RLUSD. Mind you, RLUSD launched maybe like January.
Wasn't that long ago?
Bro, it was not that long ago, and they already got $210 billion in circulating supply. Not to mention having $1 billion in cash ready for any type of capital investment. So Ripple, the company, is definitely killing it out there. Congratulations to Ripple. And a lot of people don't know, man. It's a lot of competitive players in the stablecoin business. You got Circle, you got Tether, you got Dai. But the main two I would say would be Circle with USDC and Tether with USDT. And now Ripple ROUSD is up there.
You
So
said
they're
it was 15.
definitely, yeah, 210.
With from what I'm looking at, you know, there's only two. Bitcoin and Ethereum are the only two with that much cap being played with. Like you said, USDT is showing at 142.
Jesus. And USDT been around since forever. So that,
Mm.
I mean, that just tells you a lot, bro. Ripple is definitely being strategic with how they're attacking the stablecoin market. There's clearly a lot of institutional interest on top of DeFi interest for this stablecoin. A lot of people they kind of gave Ripple shit for supporting Ethereum for their RLUSD stablecoin at launch. But to me, that was smart. That was smart, bro. Like you wanna attack the markets that can garner you the potential most exposure, the most possible exposure. And like I said earlier, there's a lot of DeFi activity on Ethereum. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, you definitely want more options as far as stablecoin goes. When it comes to DeFi and payment options, on ramps, off ramps, that type of stuff. So, definitely want to highlight Ripple and their strategy around getting market share for their stablecoin, because that's not an easy feat whatsoever.
Yeah, man. Nvidia, not Nvidia. Ripple, they doing their thing, man. They've been doing it. I don't see how nobody can hate on them in the space, especially
Hey,
when they went through that trial and they really held it down for the. And they part of the reason we even getting the type of spotlight and regulatory clarity that's better be coming anyway.
yeah.
They took the
Oh yeah,
hit.
a lot of people want to give Coinbase their credit for beating the SEC, but don't forget who took on the SEC first. And don't forget that it wasn't just for them. They stood up for the whole space. Ripple stood up for the whole space, not just for them. Because the SEC was trying to do a lot of backhand stuff, which was going to impact the entire crypto space, not just Ripple themselves. So, hey, give everybody their flowers, man. Because I ain't seeing Ripple being mentioned where they need to be mentioned. That's all I got to say.
Hey man, they never mention it till they start doing what it's supposed to do, man.
It is what it is. But Ripple's definitely out there killing it. $210 billion in circulating supplies, nothing to scoff at. And they're also partnered with this next company that I want to talk about, Ondo Finance. Ondo Finance announced earlier this week that they have $1 billion in TVL, total value locked, in their institutional DeFi product. Basically, they're giving customers, clients exposure to U.S. Treasuries in a decentralized, on-chain manner, and they have $1 billion in total value lock already, which is crazy to me. Like I said offline, bro, there's a lot of interest. I'm seeing a lot of interest being shown in key areas in crypto. So I would definitely pay attention to these areas moving forward. But institutional DeFi is not something that I would, kind of just, you know, let it roll off your shoulders. I would definitely be paying attention to moves being made in institutional DeFi. Um, expect to see more products come available. I know Ondo has kind of teased about having a Nasdaq stock exchange like product on chain where they're selling tokenized shares of companies via stocks. So it's only a matter of time, especially when you see this high of an interest in U.S. Treasuries, three-month Treasuries. So the yield is pretty solid, pretty decent, pretty short term. Um, but yeah, a Nasdaq or a stock exchange like product, especially in the institutional DeFi world, it's only a matter of time before that happens. So yeah, no, congratulations to Ondo, because that's, bro, $1 billion in less than a month is crazy. That's crazy,
Um,
bro. That's insane. So, yeah, be paying attention to that.
it's a lot going on, man. Even in the midst of uncertainty and craziness, there's still a lot going on. But in order to know these things, you got to do your research. You got to do your research
Absolutely.
and don't get caught up in a lot of the noise, like we say, because a lot of the fundamentals for a lot of the companies and assets that we've been talking about hasn't changed.
At
So
all.
just the only thing that changed are the current circumstances that we're in.
Right. I mean, and not even that, bro, because we definitely talked about this. I'm about to share a screen because,
Showed.
we was talking about Nvidia, earlier in the video. And man, I want to say it was our third episode that we marked this up, but this little markup right here, this is the golden ratio, right? We got the trend channel that Nvidia was trending in. We marked up this golden ratio a couple episodes back, saying, "Hey, don't be surprised if Nvidia move down to these price levels." And look, man, fast forward, man, Nvidia is at $114 and some change, bro. And the golden ratio is anywhere between $122 down to, you guessed it, 114, $115 and some change.
Hey man, I'll say this because this is what blows me. What I never understand. People will hit my line and they want to buy Nvidia at 130, 140 all-time highs. And people say, "Man, I wish I would have got in Nvidia in early 2025. Man, I wish I would have got into a Palantir in early 2025. Man, I wish I would have got into this at that. Man, I wish I would." And then as soon as you get another opportunity to get into these companies, at those prices is crickets. It's shaky hands. Y'all weak in the knees. Come on, man.
Ready to lose your lunch, man. Ready,
Are
ready
y'all
to
just
throw it
talking?
up.
Are y'all just talking, or do y'all really want to get in these assets at amazing prices, or do y'all want to just continue to buy at all time high after all time high, and then when it drops, that's when you sell and absorb a loss? We keep telling y'all over and over, invest for the long term. Don't worry about the short term
Mhm.
noise. Focus on the fundamentals. Be heavily researched. Follow your companies. Look at the earnings. If you're doing that, tell me this. Yes, you can say, oh, the whole deep sea situation happened. There's questions around how much compute power we're going to need. There's questions about how much money is going to be spent on infrastructure going forward. There's questions. But when you think about what NVIDIA does, who they serve, what's changed? They're still the biggest player. They still make the most sophisticated GPUs. They still dominate the space. They're years ahead of NVIDIA. They're years ahead of AMD. As much as I love AMD, what's changed?
Right.
Other than sentiment and this, what people are saying on CNBC, and one analyst says, "Oh, I'm selling," and this and that, and now everybody's in uproar. Go ahead and sell. I'll keep buying at these low prices. And when things, get better, when sentiment's better, when the trade war is over, when things are progressing, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I'm still gonna be buying.
Hey, and man, watch these episodes. That's all I got to say, bro. Because we called this. We called this. And if you were waiting and buying your time, building up your cash position, bro, you could be, hey, you might be in a position to make a move, but if you weren't, man, you might have missed the opportunity. But a lot of people, like you brought up AMD, AMD been in this
Or man,
downward trend channel. You know what I'm saying, for a minute. But AMD is still, this is good, especially if there's investment going on, and AMD's been making progress on a lot of their efforts. The all-time high looked like for AMD was like 227, and we are at $98. So we marked up this trend channel as well around about the same time we talked about the Nvidia golden ratio. Man, again, another one where if you would just pay attention, you
hey,
might be able to track a good move here.
when it comes to AMD, you have to realize that, like I just said before, two things can be true at once. Everybody, let's just be honest. Every company, because we hear about, our massive companies, Meta, Amazon, Google. We hear about these mega cap companies buying all of these NVIDIA GPUs, right? Every company doesn't have that much capex to spend. Every company doesn't have, those deep bags. Every company doesn't need that much compute power. You have other options. You have AMD. You have Broadcom. You know, there will be market share for some of these other companies. Everybody's not going to need the top of the line. Just like everybody doesn't need an iPhone, some people prefer this phone or that phone. Everybody doesn't want Jordan. Some people want Nikes, Adidas. It's the same thing with this. Everybody's not going to Nvidia. Some of these other companies, like an AMD, like a Broadcom, they have expertise in other areas. They offer things at a lower cost. And when you talk about these companies wanting to, you know, start to be able to get things cheaper, when things become more developed, we have more infrastructure, and you don't need as much compute power, companies are going to start turning to the AMDs. Companies are going to start turning to, especially mid cap, AMDs, Broadcoms. So you have to keep that in mind. That doesn't mean that, is Nvidia just going to become obsolete? No. Nvidia is involved in a lot of things. They're talking about robotics, they're talking about quantum. They're still, doing their thing in GPUs and CPUs and inferencing and doing different things and training large language models and all of that kind of stuff and data sets. So That's why I would say I'm invested in both. And and like I said, I just did a video on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna play it because y'all need to go check it out. If you do not want to, and if you do not have the capacity to or the know-how to do a ton of research and decide which companies are going to be the drivers of a space, which companies are going to be at the top of a sector, ETF. ETF. Because one thing's for sure, two things for certain, you may not know who's going to be driving semiconductors, you may not know who's going to be driving AI and technology, but you know that the space, the sector is going to be driving the future forward. You know that the sector, the space is not going to fail. Go the ETF route. The ETF is going to have a pool, a collection of investments within that sector. You'll be good.
Yeah,
And,
easy mode.
and go check out the video if you want to know some in regards to S&P 500 companies, semiconductors, all of that kind of stuff. Because I did a video on it. I'm not going to go over here. Maybe I'll be generous in another pod, but go check out the video.
On me, definitely check that out. But rotating over to crypto, I mean, Bitcoin doing the same thing. I definitely thought that we topped. Personally, I thought that we topped at 110.
Mhm.
And then it's headed down to the golden ratio area that I marked up long time ago. Kind of hung out there in the 78,000 range a couple days ago. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the retrace for Bitcoin is over. I definitely expect us to go down lower off in here, especially reach, the 70K level. So man, just gonna pay attention to that and then see where Bitcoin dominance falls. And then when Bitcoin dominance really starts to fall, I will be looking to see altcoins take off. That's usually when altcoins take off. So some things still developing, but sentiment for me still is the same. Um, a lot of people gonna think the sky is falling, but to me, Bitcoin dropping in price is gonna be a really good sign. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. I mean, I ain't been wrong yet. XRP did the same move. Flare's been under the golden ratio. Ethereum is well under the golden ratio. So,
I got a quick question in regards to that.
yeah.
When you're talking about a Bitcoin specifically, other than the strategic Bitcoin reserve, the digital stockpile, what other catalyst even is there in 2025 to drive us to new all-time highs when we're talking about a Bitcoin?
If they start printing money again,
You see that happening?
yes. Temporarily, yes. Yes,
So
I
you
do.
see, so that would also mean that you see inflation getting out of control towards the end of the year.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm glad you picking up what I'm putting down. Okay,
Okay.
you picking
Okay.
up what I'm putting down. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because you can't have quantitative easing without inflation. It's not even a side effect. It's a feature.
Do you think that Jerome Powell will be on time with his cuts, or is he gonna drag it out? Because it seemed like he never moves when we expect him to move. He kind of drags out the inevitable, and then he finally goes ahead and does it. Will he be on time with his rate cuts? If things start to get out of
No,
control, kind of drag it out.
no, he's definitely gonna drag this out, bro. Because you saw what happened with the first round of rate cuts he tried to do. It didn't do no, it made shit worse.
I come
It,
in right at the perfect time. I ain't gonna lie.
it made things worse,
Yeah.
bro. It made things worse. So I mean, that's all they got in the playbook. Rate cut, tight, rate raise, stop printing money, that type of stuff. Well, fam, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. So I think you'll definitely see potentially one or two rate cuts again in 2025 towards the end of the year. Towards the end of the year, I say third and fourth quarter, you'll see some rate cuts potentially, but it ain't gonna service anything. It's not gonna do anything. I definitely think you're gonna see him print some money. they'll come up with some excuse as to why they'll need to print money. But yeah, that's the only other catalyst that I see for Bitcoin specifically. There's several catalysts for other assets because a lot of, especially in the altcoin market, a lot of assets did not have their blow off top moment, and I contribute that to retail's heightened interest in meme coins this cycle. So now that people have gotten tired of getting burned on meme coins, I'm expecting to see altcoins here shortly start making a move. I'm thinking the Ethereums, the Flares. You might see XRP make another move, and some assets like that. I think we're gonna see a run up like none other.
Hey man, we'll see, man.
We'll see. It'll be short lived. Bull runs they don't last long, so you either catch it or you don't.
Yeah, I just think, we in unprecedented times. I don't, at least I don't ever remember a time in my adult life, or at least since I've been investing, that we've had this much macro news coming every single day.
Yeah,
So it's hard to, you almost can't even compare, cycles that we're going through now to historical, activity in the past, because what we're going
it's
through right now
different.
never happened.
No,
So
it's all different.
we charting un, untraveled waters.
Right.
It's I don't know, man.
Yeah, like I said, man. Usually, around this time, you expect altcoins to be doing their thing, but they not. So, I mean, that off top kind of tell you things are different. A lot of stuff is different, bro. We've never had a government administration be seemingly pro crypto. We've never had all these different catalysts going on related to crypto at once. We've never seen, I mean, bro, because we have like companies that are headquartered overseas, crypto companies headquartered overseas, saying that if there are indeed favorable crypto laws that get passed, which I think will be sometime in like 2026, they'll move to United States. So I've never seen crypto in this big of a spotlight before. So it's all good, man. But we just gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. Things change by the day. So
Yeah, man.
anything happen.
It's an interesting year, man. I will say, if you day trading in this market, know what you're doing.
Boy,
Know what you're doing. If you trading options,
boy.
know what you're doing, because I'm talking about Trump got. It's too much macro for me. I'm letting you know. I'm long term investing, and that's it for me right now. I don't. I'm not. I ain't fooling around.
No,
'Cause you don't know. You don't know what's going to be said. What news is going to break at any time.
right. I intraday trade futures contracts. And hey, the S&P trading the ES S&P contracts. I trade micros. I don't trade the ES mini. I trade the micros. So risk is a little different, a little less. But I'm making bread. I trade intraday, so I don't let my positions run over until the next day. You know what I'm saying? I'm in and out. I'm in and out. Um, and I gotta say, man, it's been a good couple of weeks. Been a good couple weeks trading futures. So, like you said, though, you got to know what you're doing. Um, man, because it's day to day. It's day to day. It's day to day. Make sure you got your risk profile worked out. You know what I'm saying? Your risk levels worked out. But I don't know, man. If you trading futures and you trading options and things is going in your direction, you got to be making some bread right now. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, and I'll say, if people the trading and all that ain't for everybody. Yeah, I don't know.
No,
A lot of y'all trying to trade and ain't got 10 shares of nothing.
nothing. Ain't got no skin in the game.
Hey man, come on, man. Get them long term positions straight. Get them straight. If you want to, do that in the meantime. I know a lot of people like to do that to help accelerate, building up their positions. But I don't know, man.
It ain't for everybody.
Nah.
It ain't for everybody. Because I'll say this: some call options on AMD. I mean,
It better be elite.
I
That's
mean, some
the
call.
only kind of option I would be doing elite. A year at least out. At least a year
Oh
out.
yeah, oh yeah. But that's what I'm saying. If you bought call option, do not take this as advice. This is
Yeah.
not financial advice. I'm brainstorming. I'm just talking, not putting any financial advice out there. If you were to buy call options for AMD at this price point, you hold it for a year and a half, whatever you plan on doing, and it hit that 210 or that 220, that 227.
Boy.
Sheesh. Hey, hey, people would literally fight to the death for your positions, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
That could be a bag.
A big bag for sure. Especially if you get more than one contract.
I don't know. I might have to look into that personally. Might have to. Might have to. Not financial advice. We just brainstorming. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen. Know your risk. Don't just hop in anything just because we talking about it on this podcast. But yeah, no, I'm gonna have to look into that because that sounds interesting. But anyway, man, that's really it. That's really all we had on the slate today.
Hey man, it's a good last couple weeks, man.
Yeah,
A good
yeah,
last couple weeks. We
yeah.
ain't had no
Man, it's a lot of information.
we ain't had no shortage of stuff to talk about.
Nah, it's definitely been good information.
Mhm.
Definitely be on the lookout for some socials. I will be making a solid investment later this week. Um, we're gonna see what that is. May tell you what I'm investing in, may not. I don't know, but just pay attention.
And y'all
Pay
know me.
attention on socials.
I'm always copying. I'm copying crypto on a weekly basis. Stocks on a weekly basis. You know, be disciplined. Know your investor identity. Stay. And this is another thing that I forgot to mention. Every investment you need to, if you're going to invest every 2 weeks or every week or once a month, have a plan set up to where, based on the market conditions, you may not be investing in the same thing, even if you are trying to build up a position. Because if, say, you're investing in Nvidia and you've been invested in that, your dollar cost averaging, and then it runs up, it's at all time high. Okay, you may want to cool off on that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you might say, okay, now I'm gonna go into my ETF bag. Nvidia running up, the space is doing good. Okay, I'm gonna start building up my this ETF, whatever ETF. I'm gonna start building this up. I'm gonna start building that up. Have a plan, know what you're gonna invest in, hedge your investments. Just like I had somebody text me today, man, I don't know which one to choose. People, Nvidia gonna do this, but some people saying AMD gonna do this. Why are you stressed?
I
I'm
mean,
in
by
both.
both.
I'm in
I
both.
mean,
One and the two. I'm not, so just know what you're doing, man. Know what you're doing, do your research, hedge your bets. Don't be overly, extended in your investments, but find some good players and stick to them. Find some good ETFs and stick to them.
yeah, that actually brings up a good idea we may need to talk about next part, but like investment strategy.
Yeah.
Like I'm definitely at a point where I'm about to start um putting more focus in a different asset class for a specific reason. But talking about, what you should use certain asset classes for and when you may need to switch your strategy up a little bit. Like for instance, I use crypto for growth, but I'm gonna use something else to play more defense. You know what I'm saying? To kind of hedge my risk a little bit in the crypto market. So Yeah, we definitely gonna talk about that next podcast. That's a good topic. But man, appreciate y'all for coming through, watching another one. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode. It was another solid episode with a lot of information. So definitely hope y'all tapped in. Hope y'all liked it. But yeah, man, that's really it. Really it. Any final words? Any final
No,
words?
check out the Twitter, right here.
Yep. Yep.
X. Check out the X account, and follow me on YouTube, on the personal YouTube, BCL Media One. Post a lot of good content there, a lot of things, in regards to the stock market, different investments. Make sure you type in, man. Make sure you type in.
On me, you can follow me on X. I am a stock player on X. You can definitely follow the personal YouTube channel, AFHD. Talk a lot about crypto, a lot about Flare, particular blockchain I'm heavily interested in. That's some good information. Some good information. So definitely you can follow me there. But yeah, man, with that being said, we're gonna catch you on the next one.
See y'all later.
Peace.